So today we start Venn diagrams, also known as sets. Right, so I have two people here, Rowan and Jimmy, right? So remember their names, right? It's going to be important for the story later on. So let's start off with a few things. Now, this looks very, very complicated in front of us, right? Don't try to look at everything on that screen at the moment because it will confuse you. Let's try to explain this here. First of all, this over here, this symbol, sometimes instead of this symbol, they use the letter U. You're going to be seeing that in Venn diagrams quite a lot. The U, or this funny looking symbol, really stands for the universal set of values. So in today's question, we are using the values from 1 all the way to 16. So in the question today, those are the only numbers that are going to be associated with the question. Nothing smaller than 1, nothing more than 16. Do you all want to take a shot at the first question, right? Just take a shot of it in your books and let me know when you are finished. If they ask you for A equal in the exam, what would you put, right? If you want to try all, feel free, but remember, I don't know the answers as yet, so I won't be able to tell you if you're right or wrong. I'm going through each question one by one, just like the majority of the class. So they're asking us A is equal. And of course, they have a description of what A is. Apparently, the description of A is multiples of 3. So you all know what multiples are from primary school. Those are just numbers that can go into something. Like it's if I say multiples of 3, it's numbers that can be divided by 3 and leave no remainders. So from this list over here, 3 is a multiple of 3 because 3 divided by 3 is 1. So I think everyone can do this. 3, 6, 9, 12, and what? 15. Am I allowed to put 18? Well, what do you all think? Am I allowed to put 18? The answer is no, because we're only considering numbers from 1 all the way to 16. 18 is larger than 16. So when you're stating the answers, right, try to put it in numerical, in numbers getting larger, in ascending order from smallest to largest. You notice I put commas in between all the answers. You have to. And then you have to put it in curly brackets to get full marks, right? I know some of you forgot to send the curly brackets, mainly because it might have been hard to type on Zoom. So this is what you call set A, S-E-T, set A. Do you all think you all can, for those who didn't get the first one correct, do you think you can do the second one now? Write down what needs to go in B, right? They want the multiples of 5 because B represents the multiples of 5 between 1 to 16, including 1 and 16. Right, and a lot of correct answers are coming up. Well, the multiples of 5 will be 5, 10, and 15, right? We cannot put 20 because 20 is, how you say, larger than what? 16. Great. So we have the first 2 questions done. You're only going to get 1 mark for that, for each one in the exam. But look at the third question, the one in blue. You'll notice that a lot of people think that this question and the first question is the same because both of them asking for A. However, you notice it have the letter N on the outside. Well, whenever you see the letter N on the outside, right, this means number of, or they're asking you for the amount. Now, let me show you the slight difference. If it have plain old A alone with no N on the outside, you just have to list all the values with commas and the little squiggly brackets. But whenever they ask you for NA, they're asking you for the amount of answers you got. So how much answers did we get for A? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you just have to put 5. Notice it have no commas, it have no curly brackets. So in other words, they just want you to add up or sum up how much answers we got for A. In other words, how much items are living in the answer of A. Do you all think you can write the answer for the purple one? What is NB? Right? Great. A lot of people are catching on to the concept here. For B, it have 1, 2, 3 answers. So you just put boring 3. Everyone take down everything so far. I'll give you a few seconds, right? Take a 20 seconds. Make sure you have neat notes. Now, the next question, right? You will see A, this funny looking symbol. It looks like an N, but it's not an N. Remember, an N has a little ears on top here. This is more like a rainbow, right? The explanation for that symbol is over here. If you look at the top in green, that symbol means intersect. Another way of saying intersect is overlap or common region or common items. So I know a lot of textbooks will say that this symbol means intersect, but it's very, very useful to know. It also means overlap or common. And let me explain why let me show you why it's so good to know the other meanings of it. In this question, it have A intersect B. So they're asking what is common between both of them. So if you go back to A and B over here, so you have A and you have B. Do you all see anything common in between them? What's the same between A and B? Well, what are A and B sharing? Right, it's 15. If look at it, both of them have the number 15. Nothing else is common. So how are you going to write this answer for the examiner? Very, very simple. You just have to say, it doesn't have the N on the outside, so you have to put the curly brackets. So it's 15, close brackets. Now it only have one item here. So there's no need to put a comma to separate it from a second item. So that's the answer. If I take this one in, well, I guess this is a kind of reddish. You all notice the one underneath is almost the same question. It's this question with the letter N on the outside. So what is the answer for the green one over here? What do you all think the answer for the green one is? Right, a lot of people are just sending the answers. That's great, right? They want you to add up the amount of answers you have over here, which is 1. And this one has no curly brackets, no commas, no nothing. All right. All right. So I just want to change the white one to make it a little bit different, right? And I will, here's what. For the white one, let's pretend that you don't have the N on the outside here. So there's no N over here, right? Well, I'm going to erase the brackets. What does the U mean? U means to what? Union or combine. If you union 2 houses, that's mean you're what? That means you are combining the 2 houses. They want you to combine all the answers between A and B. However, you all will notice that A and B have a common answer. So when you're combining all the answers, you notice the 15 appears here and the 15 appears here. Even though it appears twice, when we are writing the answer, we have to write it only once. You see, when you're writing answers in curly brackets, a value could only appear once. You cannot duplicate a value. And of course, we're going to try to keep it in what? Numerical order. So I'll open the brackets because it doesn't have the letter N at the moment. Let's combine it. I'm going to put 3 after 3 is what? 5. After 5 is what? 6. After 6 is what? 9. After 9, the next biggest number is what? 10. After 10 is what? 12. And the 15 appears twice, but you can only write it how much? Once. So you notice what? We combined all the answers in A with all the answers in B, right? And we did not duplicate any answers. All right? All right. So now, I just say now, if I were to change this now to this, remember the original one had the letter N. What would the answer be for that one if I put the letter N now? Right, Jeremy, correct. Right, Aisha, correct. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in a case like that, if it have the letter N now, there's no need to put this. And I just replace all of that with the value of 7. Great. So the next one, right, it usually gives a little bit of trouble. You all see, I want to change this question to this first, right? So what I'm going to do, for the orange one, I'm going to scratch off the letter N, right? So you're only seeing A, but it's not just A, because we did A already. Now, this time is A with a little dash on top of it. If you look closely, that dash means what? Complement or not. Compliment doesn't mean you give someone a compliment in the sense that you tell them something nice. Another meaning of compliment, and it took me a long time to realize this, right? Compliment means not or opposite, right? So if I come and tell you, the English may not be correct here, right? Let me say I have 3 people in a room. And this is you. This person is you. So you're sharing a room with 2 other people. And I come and tell you, everybody is getting $5. And I say, compliment you. So I use the phrase compliment and I reference you. That means everybody is getting $5 except you. So he getting $5 and he getting $5 and you getting no $5. All right. So that's how you want to imagine it. So I come and tell you a prime, a complement. So this question is asking you for everybody who is not in A. Who is, but to figure out this question, you have to first figure out who in A. Who is in A? 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. Remember, all the values are up here. So who is A? 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. So if I come and say complement A, I mean everybody else except for these values. So who would be those values? 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, and what? 15. Everyone understands that? Because the complement of A means everybody who is not A, the opposite of A. So you have to put 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, and 16, close brackets, right? So everyone take down that answer. And of course, if they change back the question to N and they put the complement, in this case, they want you to add up how much answers we just got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right? So that was your introduction to sets, right? Let's see what the next one is about. Right, so apparently we had to decipher. That's your friend being held captive there, right? So he wants to be free in time for what? Christmas. All right, so we have some scrolls to decipher. All right. So we have to go to the swamp. There's a witch there apparently that will help us decipher this scroll for this evil wizard here. He's the evil wizard, right? Well, makes sense. And your friend name is Claus, apparently. All right, so what I'm gonna do, we're gonna try our first Venn diagram question, okay? I'm gonna try to explain this question different because I used to have a lot of problems understanding Venn diagrams in school. First of all, I just want to explain one symbol here, right? This symbol means what? Less than or equal to. So, and an integer is a whole number, right? So decimals and fractions are not what? Whole numbers. A whole number is like 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. So the universal set, remember the U stands for universal set, which means how much we are, the universal set is all the numbers from 1 all the way to 12, including 12, because it's less than or equal to 12. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is everything in the diagram. A is going to be all the prime numbers less than or equal to 12, and B is going to be all the factors of 12. That's all the values that can go into 12 without leaving what? A remainder. You will notice I have an interesting diagram over here, right? We are going to pretend we are in the desert. And you all know what an oasis is? That's a place in the desert that has a lot of water. That water just happens to pop up. And we have tried to imagine this. Imagine you find a kind of lake with a lot of water. And then there's a lush green meadow. In real life, when water and good soil meet, you notice in this region here, we have water mixing with what? The green lush grass. What do you call this area? It starts with the letter M. You would say that area is mud, right? It's muddy. So that is how I want you to interpret the common region where the two different substances meet, water and soil meet, you get mud. So before and everything around it is sand. So it's three terrains we have here: water, grass, mud, and sand. So try to remember it like that. I want you all to write out all the values for you. You think you all can do that for me? All the values for you. Go start with 1 and count all the way to 12 and put commas in between them. So this is pretty easy. That's counting from what? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And you put your little commas in between. You have to put the commas, eh? That's not optional. Right. Do you all think you all can write out the values for A? What values are in set A? Those are all the prime numbers that are less than or equal to 12. So you have to go to this list here, the universal set, and kind of identify all the values that are prime numbers. Well, what is a prime number? That's a number that can only be divided by 1 or itself and leave no remainder. Quick question, is 1 a prime number? Let's see if you remember your primary school knowledge. Is the number 1 a prime number? No, right? A lot of people forget that, even the Form 5s, right? So 1 is not a prime number for whatever strange reason. I don't know the reason behind it. And then when you're finished, see if you can do the second one, right? Write down all the values that belong to B, all the factors of 12. Right. So prime numbers are like, well, 1 is out, 2 is a prime number, 3 is a prime number, I know 5 is a prime number, 7 is a prime number, and 11. I think 11 is the last one. Right. So those are the prime numbers. For B are the factors of 12. Well, what numbers can go into 12 without leaving a remainder? 1, definitely. 2, 3, 4, and 6. Those are the only, if you see I miss out any, you'll let me know, right? But I think I have that correct. I don't think any other numbers, oh, sorry, yes, you all are right. Oh my God. 12 is also a factor of 12 because 12 could go into 12. Thank you. So now these are like the written pieces of information. Those are the sets. What we want to do now is draw something called a Venn diagram. A Venn diagram will take all of this information on top and put it in a very understandable diagram. Because what do you all prefer to see? Values or a diagram summarizing everything? The average person would prefer a diagram because diagrams are more visual and it's easier to understand. So let's draw this Venn diagram over here. So we're going to call the blue one set A and the green one set what? B. Let's fill in the values. First of all, you know what I always like to do first? I always like to fill in the mud region. That's the common region. What is common between A and B? Look at A and B and look for the common values. Right? Give it a good look. Right, I'll kind of circle it here. It looks like 2 is common between both of them, and the 3 is anything else? Nah, I think it's just 2 and 3. So what will go in the mud region? 2 and 3. You notice I only write the 2 once and I only write the 3 once. In Venn diagrams as well, values cannot be duplicated. You cannot write a value twice. That's just not allowed. So what is left to go in the water? Remember, 2 and 3 from A were put into the mud region, the common region. So what is left to go in the water now? 5, 7, and 11. You just put 5, 7, you just space them out, right? You don't have to put commas or anything. You just space them out nice. And what will go in the grass region? Remember, look at the blue over here for B. 2 and 3 went into what? The mud. So how much is left to go on the grass? Right? 1, 4, 6, and 12. 1, 4, 6, and 12. They just space them out nice. But you all notice that we didn't use all the values. You all notice that let's go and see which values we used, right? We could go to our Venn diagram here. We use 5, we use 11, we use 7. We definitely use 2 and 3, 2 and 3. We use 1, we use 6, we use 4, and we use what? 12. So which values we didn't use? 8, 9, and 10. Where do you think those values will go? Because those values don't belong in A, they don't belong in B, they don't even belong in the mud. So where are we going to put them? Well, what's the name of the region? Like, tell me whether it's water, mud, grass, like, well, which region? Right, I want you to remember it like this, right? It belongs in the sand, right? So you just put them anywhere in the sand. You can put 8, 9, just space it out there, right? So that will be good enough. Everyone draw that diagram properly. So remember the 3 terrains: water, grass, mud, and sand. It will make it easier for us to communicate. Everyone focus over here now on the diagram to the right. You notice in this diagram, you listed all the individual values. Like you could look at this diagram and see 5 living here, 11 living here, 7 living here. You're seeing all the individual values. But sometimes in the exam, the examiner likes to summarize the information. So what he will do, how much values it have in the water? 1, 2, 3. So he will put 3, meaning that it have how much values in that region. I'll use a different color here. I'll use, let me use white, right? So it have 3 values that are in this region. What number you think we're going to put in the mud? Right. And no, somebody said 4. Concentrate on the mud. We're concentrating on the mud. Maria, try it back again. We're concentrating on the mud. Right. It only have 2 values in the mud. 1, 2. And how much? Let's go to the grass now. In the grass region, we have what? 4. And how much we're going to put in the sand? How much in the sand region? 3. 1, 2, 3, and the grass is 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this case, right, we're more just summarizing how much we have in each region. Which one do you all think gives you more information? Well, which one do you think is more useful in real life? The first one, right? Because tell me something. If everything on his screen got scratched off, let me say this got scratched off, this got scratched off, and this got scratched off, and you only had this diagram. So somebody now come in class and they only see this particular diagram. They see a 3 here, they see a 2 here, and a 4 here, and they know this represents the amount of numbers here, the amount of numbers, and the amount of numbers. Would they be able to tell you which 3 numbers was here? Do you think the person will be able to do that? Like, do they think they could use superpowers to figure out what 3 numbers was there? And the answer is no. Nobody is going to know what 3 numbers existed here. All they know is it have 3 numbers living there. But what are the three numbers? Nobody knows. So the point is, I mean, this diagram does look neater, but it's not as informative as the previous diagram, right? You could get any one in the exam. Now, here's the thing. You cannot put the letter A outside here. You see how in this one you have the letter A and you list all the values here? When you're counting up all the answers, what you have to do, N open brackets. Remember, whenever you see N and the brackets, that means you plan to what? Count up how much answers. Who could tell me what to put over here after the equal sign? What's the number of items in A? And half the class is going to get this right, and half the class is going to get this wrong. A lot of people are saying 3. Do you all agree with 3? The answer is actually 5, not 3. Whenever you see NA and you're writing it outside, that means you're referring to the whole A circle. You have to get accustomed with that. When you write a value outside, it refers to the whole A circle. So this really asking you the number of items in the whole A circle. So it's 3 plus the 2, which gives you 5. Don't feel bad if you got it wrong. Even the Form 5s get that wrong, right? Because in my opinion, a lot of teachers don't stress on that. And that simple piece of theory could decide whether you get the entire question correct or get the entire question wrong, right? So anytime if I, in general language or communication, if I say A, that means the whole A circle. So if I wanted to see the 3, like, how would I specify what the 3 is? The 3 is actually just A only, or you could use the word alone. So if I say A, I'm referring to the whole circle, which is 5 items. If I say A only or use the word alone, they mean the value inside up to the boundary, only in the water. You're not crossing over into the mud. So A only would be how much? 3. Okay, everyone understand? It makes a big difference if you say A or use the phrase A only. So what do you all think you should write outside here? N, B. What do you think goes after the equal sign there now? No one should get this wrong. Right, and you all are getting it correct because they're talking about the whole B circle. So it's 6. And of course, if I say B only, then the answer would be what? 4. But if I said B only, like I write a sentence, N open brackets B only, if I write it like, and the number of people in B only would be how much? 4. But if I say NB and I don't use the word only, I'm referring to the number of items in the whole B circle, which we know is how much? 6. That's very, very important. That is the number 1 mistake made in Venn diagrams. Take down everything on the screen. Let me know when you are finished. There. Let's see what the next slide is about. Oh, remember we have to go to the swamp to meet the swamp witch. All right, so we'll continue that after. All right, so I have a question on the screen here, right? I want you all to draw this and try this. Doesn't matter if you get all right or all wrong. Just try your very, very best. So I hope no one fell for the trick for the first one. A only, and it doesn't have the letter N outside. So in this case here, they want us to list all the answers. So we have to put our open brackets. Now, A only. I use the word only. So we only have to list the numbers in which region? Water and the mud, or just the water alone? Well, what do you all think? For the first question, is it the water and the mud or water alone? Right, it's the water alone. When they use the word only, it only goes up to the boundary. They're not talking about the whole A circle. So it's 1, 3, 8. Put your commas and put what? Your closed brackets. Now, B only, I use the phrase only. So that's the grass region. We are not talking about the whole B circle. So it could just be 9 and 13. Right, so for those who got that one wrong, well, I hope you understand the working now, the reasoning behind it. Now, in the yellow ones, right, or up here, they did not put the letter N, and now they use the phrase, sorry, the word in A. They just say A. They didn't say A only or A alone. So in a case like that, they're talking about the whole A circle. That is the water and the mud, right? So you have to put it, say, included everything in the water and the mud, but try to put it in numerical order, right? 1, 3, 4, 7, and 8. I included all the numbers here, but I just made sure and rearranged it from smallest to what? Largest, right? The examiner would appreciate that. B, they didn't even use the letter N. So in this case here, again, they want you to list out all the answers in B. Now, when they say B, they're talking about the whole B circle, grass and mud. So let's put it here, 4, 7, 9, and 13. I included the grass and the mud. How much people have everything correct so far? Like, they made no mistakes so far. Right? Now, don't mix it up with questions like this. I'm just saying if. This is a theoretical question. If they said N and A, then in a case like this, they want you to add up all the values in A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's if. And if they had asked you for N what? B, the answer would have been 1, 2, 3, 4. The number of items in the B answer. Right? Right. So the next one here is the number of items. So we have to add up our answers for this one. For A, and what does this mean? Union. Another word for union is combine. So they want you to combine everything in A and B. Now, when they say it like that, remember the mud is part of A and the mud is part of B. So they want you to include the mud region, everything in A and B. So how much things, and they want you to add up how much answers. Well, what do you all think the answer for this one would be? When you add up how much values you have between A and B, inclusive of the mud region, because the mud, once again, belongs to the water and it belongs to the grass at the same point in time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I gained 7, Soraya. I don't know how you got 9. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You understand the mistake there? I'm getting 7. Somebody said 6. But for those who got it wrong, let me know in the chat. You understand the mistake you made, right? They just want you to combine everything in A and B. All right. So I'm going to focus on the last one here. He's going to be a troublemaker. They want the number of items who not in B. Remember, it have this little symbol here. That's the complement. Now, who is not in B? The best way to start that question is to ask who in B. So let's try to figure out who in B. So if I come and ask you who is in B, well, which numbers are in B? Aren't these the guys in B? 4, 7, 9, and 13. 4, 7, 9, and 13. Who is not B? Who is not a member? In other words, who are not these numbers? Right? The people who are not these numbers are going to underline them. 1, 3, and 8. Do we have to include the 6 and the 5? What do you all think? Yes, we have to include the 6 and the 5. Because if you go up to number 1 and ask, are you in B? His response will be no. If you ask 3, are you in B? He will say no. If you go up to 6, are you in B? Of course, his answer is going to be no. He not in A or B, but the point is he not in B either. So, and they ask us to count up how much answers we got. They don't want us to list out the 1, 3, 8, 6, and 5. Count it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It have 5 values that are not in B. For those who got it wrong, please let me know in the chat that you rectified it, the understanding part. You understand it now, right? Please. Let's move on, right? Let's see what's great. All right, so it seems that to get her help, we have to recover some potions for her, and she will help us afterwards to decipher the script. Not a bad deal. All right. In this question here, we're going to handle, I'm going to show you how to do intersect. Now remember, this symbol here means intersect. Now remember, another word for intersect was common. I gave you that at almost at the beginning of class, or overlap. Now, most people will know how to do this question here. A intersect B. It doesn't have the letter N here. So they're asking you for the actual numbers. Well, what would be the answer for this particular question? Most people will be able to do this in their head. The first question, A intersect B. The answer would be what? 5, right? The number 5, because that's where A and B overlap. That's the common region, right? But let's just say somebody didn't know that answer. Like they didn't know the answer was 5. How would they reason it out? How we know that 5 is the overlapping region? Whenever you have an intersect question, the best way to do this is to get 2 different colors, like a red ink and a blue ink, which are very, very common to find in any stationery store. And what you do, you get the 2 colors. I'm going to take blue. If it's A intersect B, what we're going to do, we're going to shade A in 1 color. I'm going to choose blue. So I'm going to go to my diagram and shade A in blue. Now, when I say A, you notice I didn't use the word only. I said A. When I say it like that, it means I'm talking about the entire A circle. isn't this the entire A circle? Right? You have to be real careful. So what I'm going to do, you're shading it exactly like how I do it in slanted lines like this. Pay attention to the A circle and you just begin to shade the A circle. You forget everybody else. You notice I went across in the mother because what did I just shade? The whole A circle. So everyone do that for me. Shade the whole A circle in blue. But when you're shading A, you don't care about B. You just focusing on the A circle and shade that, right? Right. And then you get a different color ink, right? You can get like red. And you want to know where A intersects B. So now you focus on B and you're going to shade B in a different color. So you're going to go to the diagram and shade B in red. So you can shade it in a different direction so it's easier. So when we shade in B, we just shade in B. And we never use the word B only. So we just shade in B. And you know what you ask yourself after? Which region has both colors? Which area has both colors? The lake, well, that's the water, the lake, the dirt, the grass, or the sand? Which area has blue and red? Right? Sorry, well, I already supposed to put the word mud here, right? If you all realize, right? This is supposed to be what? Mud. Right? I don't know why I put it, right? So dirt and the mud is the same thing, but I think you all understand, right? The lake is water, the middle is dirt or mud. We know here was green and nice, so that was the grass. And of course, here was the sun. So that is how we got 5, because who lives in the area with both colors? The dirt or mud region. And who lives there? 5. But we could have done this question without going through all that headache because it's such an easy, common question, and you all probably saw it over and over in where? In school. But suppose the question gets a little bit harder now, right? Look at this region here, right? Remember, the dirt and mud is the same thing, right? Here, it's another intersect question. But they didn't ask you where A intersect B. They ask you the complement of A intersects B. Who is not A? Where does that intersect regular boring B? Same concept. Since this one is harder to imagine, we have to draw it up. So you know what we're going to do? We are going to shade who is not A first. To figure out who is not A, we have to identify the A circle. Isn't this the A circle? And we are going to shade everything outside that circle, because everything outside that circle is not A. Now look at me do this, right? Everything outside is. Now when I say outside A, I mean everybody, including the southern region. So I am just shading everything outside A. Right? Nothing is allowed to go inside that A circle. You notice nothing inside this A circle has been touched, but everybody else got shaded in blue. So I have just shaded who is not A. Everyone do that for me and wait. So now we have to shade who now? B. Now this is regular boring B. So we have to go and shade the B circle. Now when I say B, I never, in nowhere in that sentence, it have the word B only. They just said B. So they're talking about the whole B circle. So start in a different direction to make it easier. You begin to shade the whole B circle. You don't care about nobody else. That whole circle has to get shaded out. Now you ask yourself, at the end of an intersect question, after you shade everyone in different colors, which area has both colors. Choose from the list here. Or if you want to combine two, which area has blue and red? No, guys, Lorenzo, you're choosing from the list here. You can't just say B, right? I want to know if it's the lake, the dirt, the grass, or the sand, or a combination of the lake and the dirt. You use the right. Then that will make it easier for us to communicate, because when students say B, I don't know if you talking about the whole of B or just the kind of cookie shape that has a bite out of it, like this shape here. It makes it too difficult to communicate. So some people say the mud and the grass. How much people agree with that? Let's pretend you have somebody living in the mud. If somebody living in the mud, does it have any blue in the mud? Look at it properly, guys. You ought to look at this real properly. Does the mud have any blue? Right, no, the blood, they don't have any blood. The mud has no blue. The mud only has red. Saraya, you understand it? Somebody else got it wrong. Somebody else wrong. Jeremy Jordan, you understand your mistake? The mud region only has red. The only region that has both colors is the grass. Look at it. In the grass region, it have what? Red and blue. Look at it, red and blue. Right? So now they're asking us what values live in the answer to this, which is the grass. So the answers is what? 2 and 3, because only 2 and 3 live in the grass region. So we have to put our brackets like this, 2 and 3. Obviously, if they wrote the question like this instead, N, A, complement, intersect, B, like if they wrote it like that instead with the letter N on the outside, they would want us to add up how much answers we have. So the answer in that case would be what? 2, right? Somebody said the grass and the sand had both colors. Is that statement correct? Does the sand have both colors? I don't think so, Najavon. Check it back. If I standing on the sand here, if this is me, and I standing in the sand, pretend it's laser beams, red and blue laser beams. Anybody standing in the sand would only be subjected to what? Blue laser beams. All right? So you gotta be real careful, right? You gotta look at the diagram properly, right? Let me know when you're finished with everything on the screen. Move on. Let's see what's next on this little adventure here. Oh, she's smart because she needs some assurance that they will come back. What do you think she's going to do? To make sure that both of them don't actually just go get the potions and steal the potions for themselves. Because they could do that, right? Next thing you know, the potions are worth more than the scrolls. You're gonna put a spell on them. Let's see what goes on here. Oh, sorry, his name is really supposed to be Jimmy, but I put Jeffrey by mistake. But it's really Jimmy. Probably Jeffrey's his last name. Right, so what she did, she turned him to stone. So Rowan will have to go get the potions for herself and then come back to collect back Jimmy or Jeffrey, whatever his name was. All right. So I want you all to try these 2 questions for me now, right? Try your best. Get 2 different colors. Get a blue and get a red. And try your best, right? If I give away the answers too fast, you're not going to get it practiced. All right, so let me get the blue ready. So for the first one, for A, I'm going to shade the whole A circle in what? Blue, right? Now, when I shade the whole A circle, I don't care about anything else. It's the whole A circle because they never said A only, just A. Great. Now we have to shade who is not B. Not B. So if this is the B circle, we have to shade everything outside that circle who is not B. So I begin to take my time now. A shade, just go around that B circle. It can never ever enter the B circle, right? It can't even enter the mud region because the mud partially belongs to what? B. Because the mud is part water and part good soil. Now ask yourself, where has both colors? Use this: lake, dirt, grass, or sand. Remember, dirt and mud is the same thing. Which region are we looking at? The lake, that's the nice water. The dirt, which is the in-between region. Grass is the good region, and sand is, well, the outskirts. Right, in a case like this, it's the lake. Only the lake itself has both red and blue. So the answer for that one would be 1 and 9. How much people had that one correct? 1 and 9. And of course, if they had asked us for N, A intersect who is not B, then the answer would be 2, because we add up how much answers. But that's if they had asked us. Great. Still take some time with the second one. I know some of you all may now be getting warmed up to understanding the concepts. So try the second one. Look at it properly. Who is not A intersects who is not B. For intersect questions, complicated ones, use the 2 different colors. And that's the best method. You won't get a better method. Right. So what we have to do now, we have to shade who is not A. And I'm going to shade that in what? Blue. So I identify the A circle. And then I'm going to shade everything outside that circle. Never, ever, ever going inside the A circle. Just everything outside. Right? If you look carefully, nothing inside the A circle has blue. Not even the mud region, because the mud region still has some affiliation with what? A. Now we have to shade who? Who is not B. So we do the same thing, but for B this time. We identify the B circle, and then we shade everything outside that B circle. Never ever going inside the B, not even the mud region, because the mud region has some affiliation with what? B. Right, so you see nothing inside the B circle has what? Red. Which region has both colors? Right, Anjana, Lorenzo, Maria, right? Jeremy, Jordan, correct. Right, Kai, correct. If you notice, only the sand region, only the outskirts have both colors. Look at it here. Over here only have red. Over here only have blue. The 5 don't even have any colors. So he's the worst out of all of them. So the answer, the final answer would be 7, 8, close brackets. And if, and they're saying if, I like to do the other version just in case, if they had put N on the outside of the question, right, put the N here, then the answer would have been 2. They would want us to count up how much answers we have. Right, so take down everything you need.